With the official launch of Fluent Cart happening tomorrow on October the 14th, I thought it was about time I went back and give you an update on the most recent additions and changes that have happened since my previous overview of the beta release. Now, the most important thing here is if you want to grab yourself a good deal, including a lifetime offer, use the link down in the description down below to go and check out Fluent Cart. It is an affiliate link, and if you use it, you do help support the channel. If you don't want to use it, absolutely no problem whatsoever. Just head over to fluentcart.com and take a look. So with any kind of e-commerce, we're going to break this down to three key areas: orders, products, and everything else. These are what I would consider to be the most important parts of any kind of e-commerce store. So let's jump over into Fluent Cart and take an overview of those features. So once downloaded, installed, and set up, this is what you're going to have whenever you log in to your Fluent Cart dashboard. This is where you can get an overview of everything to do with your store. So you can see the total number of products, the orders, the revenue you've made, and any refunds. And you've got a nice, clean interface that gives you the kind of main things you need to know about. The cool thing about this, and this hasn't changed since my initial findings, is the fact that this is just so quick and easy to work with. I'm only working on InstaWP, so this is not high-level server with tons of resources. And it's snappy, it's fast to work with, and in my opinion, that's probably one of the biggest things that you want when you're working on something which can be as heavy as an e-commerce solution in WordPress. You've only got to have used WooCommerce in the past to realize that it can get very slow, which makes just doing any everyday task just hard work. Let's start by taking a look at the products and the options that come with that. Let's open up these trainers at the beginning. As you can see, this is a typical kind of layout. There's some nice little features here that you may not immediately see straight away that make just working inside you so much more intuitive. So let's break it down into what we have. At the top, we've got our title and short description. Then we've got our long description. Cool thing here is you can see we've got classic editor, just using the normal text editor you're used to, or we can jump into the builder mode. And this will then open up the builder. And in this case, we've got Gutenberg. We can click to show content editor. And now we have the normal Gutenberg editor. So you can easily use any of the elements inside here. So images, gallery, audio, anything like that whatsoever. So your product detail pages can be so much more feature rich than just plain old text and a basic static image. You can get a lot more creative here. That's pretty cool. Then if we come underneath, you can see this is a variable product. So we've got different options here. So we've got different variations. If you click to edit any one of these, you can see there's more options here. We can set up the title for it, the type, whether it's physical, digital, so on, payment types and so on, those kinds of cool things. But what's nice here is they've thought of the fact that, let's just say you want to change this image. You don't have to come over and click the edit and make changes there. You can simply click on the image itself and it'll pop up the media library. Just a nice little simple feature that when you've got to add in a bunch of images for whatever reason, like these 5 here, I can just simply click on the thumbnail of the image, straight to the media library, add my image in, quick, no fuss. Very nice. Then if we take a look over on the right-hand side, you can see we've got the additional media for our gallery images. You've got your product taxonomies then, so we can organize these based upon the category, the brands if you want to add brands in, apply your shipping classes, your tax classes, and so on. We'll take a look at things like that when we take a look at the settings. And if you've got downloadable assets, if it's a digital product, enable this and you'll have different options here where you can add in the actual product that you want to download. Pretty cool. We'll take a look at that in digital products in a moment. So you can see there's the basics. Then you've got the upgrade path. So if you want to offer upgrades, you can do. So let's say you're working with a digital product and you've got a basic one-time license and you may want to upgrade them to a 5 times or something like that. You can set upgrade paths inside here. That's pretty cool. And also we've got integrations, and this is where it really does open up what you can do with Fluent Cart. This means that if you are using other Fluent products, for example, FluentCRM, Fluent Community, and so on, you can tie those in by adding integrations in and connecting things up and take advantage of much more power than just Fluent Cart itself. There's no additional cost on top to use these. So if you already use FluentCRM or Fluent Community, you can automatically integrate it into your Fluent Cart. Even if you don't have the paid versions, you can still have access to a lot of useful features in the free versions, and you can still take advantage of those integrations, which is pretty cool. Then if you want to upgrade, you absolutely could do to get more functionality when you're ready and if you should need it. So that's a typical variable product. Let's take a look at some digital products and subscriptions and so on for other kinds of things we can handle here. And the cool thing is we don't need additional plugins to handle things like subscriptions. It's built directly into Fluent Cart. Let's open up a subscription product. So you've got a subscription test here. You can see all the same options are here for your short description, long description, and so on. But then we've got our pricing. You can see this is set to simple, but we can have variations again if we want inside here. So you can set your simple pricing setup for the price, comparative price, the interval, trial number of days. Is there a setup fee? Do you want to calculate the profit and losses? Are there downloadable assets? Again, those options are there. So once you set this up in the normal way, then you can go through and you can set up integrations. So you can connect this up, like I say, to something like FluentCRM or Fluent Community, and you can see I've done just that in this example. So we've got Fluent Community annual subscription. If we edit this, you can see this connected up to Fluent Community, and it will specify what spaces they get added to, what courses they get access to, and a whole bunch of other options. I've created a video on how this all works, which I will link down in the description down below. So if you'd like to see this in more detail, check that out. But those integrations are so powerful, and you can stack integrations. So you can have multiple integrations going to Fluent CRM or Fluent Community to do different things based upon what happens with these integrations and the product or subscription that they're paying for. This time, let's take a quick look at a digital product. So we've got this sample digital software. Let's open this up. And as you can see, all the same options. And if we come down, we've got different variations here. And we've also got the downloadable asset, which is the file to download. Where we've got, like I say, we've got these two different options. If we come over to our upgrade path, inside there, you can see there's our upgrade option. We click to open this up. We can choose what plans and so on. So we can have a path that allows them to upgrade from lower tier versions to higher tier versions and so on. Maybe a 1 license, 10 license, and a lifetime license, they could all be used to have upgrades. And again, we've got integrations so we can connect those up inside here as well. So there's lots of options when it comes to products to handle digital products, subscriptions, physical products, simple products, variable products, and so on. Lots of options there. So the next most important thing you're probably going to want to handle is going to be your customers and your orders. Again, this is something you want to be quick, snappy, easy to deal with, and just gets out of the way and just allows you to do your job, which is making money. There's a couple of orders inside here. You can see we can break them down by completed, processing, and so on. You've got different views inside here, so you can filter things down to get sort of exactly what you want to see. Check out upgrade paths, upgrade to and from. So if you're checking things out, you've got statistical information here you can use to make more informed decisions over and above what you can do inside the report section. So that's pretty nifty. We've got advanced filters as well inside here, so we can create quite comprehensive filters. That's pretty nice to see. So let's take a look at some orders. Let's take a look at this shop for the course subscription. We can click and find out who the customer is. We can view that customer. Or we can come into the order itself and we can see various different pieces of info, and we can even go and view the invoice here and get a printable invoice direct on our screen. Pretty nifty. There's our invoice, again, looking pretty nice. Then if we open the order up, you can see inside here, there's all the details about the order, the amount paid, what they purchased, a full activity breakdown. And we've also got the information there on the right-hand side about the product, subscription, etc. they purchased, customer information, notes, labels, and so on. And again, we've got more actions. We can cancel the order, back to processing, send a receipt, and so on. Very simple, and hopefully what you can see, very, very quick and responsive. So moving around here doesn't take you 10 seconds to see an order. It's literally a case of go to your orders, find the order you want, click on it, it's open. All in real time. You can see less than a second to access those various different parts. So when you're inside here working on a daily basis, it's going to be nice and easy to work with. So we've seen the orders, we've seen the products. Let's take a jump over to take a look at the customers. You can see inside here, we've got our customer information. So there's my sample. So we can see exactly what's been purchased by that particular customer, any subscriptions they currently have running. We can open up the subscription, find out more info about it. So everything you need to know is already here. So next, let's take a look at the report section. Again, another important part of the overall setup, and somewhere that'll help you make informed decisions about what products are selling well, maybe your marketing efforts to see what's actually returning good returns on investment, all those kinds of good things. So even though I don't have any data inside here, you can still see the types of information we can actually see. So you've got our gross revenue quarterly, September, so a breakdown for exactly each month so we can find out what's going on. Our Q1, we can get a breakdown there. Our net revenue quarterly year on year. top grossing countries if you're dealing with selling across the entire globe, top country net volume. There's a lot of statistical information inside here that you can get to. And also, you've got lots of info then, and up top, this is just a kind of overview, but you can jump into your sales, your gross sales, refund, items, orders, and so on, your top products, top product variants. Then you've got your orders, so you can get information about the gross sales, the refunds, the revenue, and so on. As you can see, again, there's a lot of info inside here, including the most popular days and times, so you could target your marketing efforts to get the optimal return on your investment based upon that information from where people are purchasing. Always kind of useful to get that data. Your revenue, refunds, how much you're making on subscriptions, product information, customer information, and so on. So you can easily get all the statistical information you should need to make really comprehensive decisions backed up by data. Okay, so we've ticked off some of the main things. Now let's take a look at some of the other options that are available as part of Fluent Cart. So if we jump into the settings for Fluent Cart, you can see there's an awful lot of options here. You've got your basic store setup, your page setup, and so on. So this allows you to kind of choose what pages are going to be used, add your branding and those kinds of things. Pretty standard affair. Obviously, you can set up what currency you want to work with and how your currency is going to be displayed and so on. I'm not going to go into all that. Your payment settings, this is where you can choose what payment models are available. You can see since my last one, we now have Paddle brought on board alongside Stripe, PayPal, and cash on delivery. There are still some additional ones to be brought out. And again, I would say within the next quarter, we're probably going to see most, if not all of those being rolled out as well. So that's something I think will be very useful, and will again open this up to a broader audience in other countries that don't necessarily have access to Stripe and PayPal and so on. Your invoice and packaging, as we saw in the previous video, this allows you to set up your packaging slips and so on, still under development, but when these actually come out, you are going to be able to create a lot, and you are going to be able to customize it by using the sort of shortcodes we have available for your order, your general, your customer transaction, and so on. If you want to take advantage of webhooks, you absolutely can do. We'll take a look at something like webhooks a little later once it's matured and we see how we can connect various different parts up. Then we've got your tax and your duties, and we've got these things broken down to configuration, your rates, and your EU. So we can enable tax. We can choose how that tax is handled. So whether it's included or excluded from your prices, calculate your tax based upon the various different parameters. Again, if you're coming over something like WooCommerce or other tools like this, these options are going to be very familiar, but they are now integrated in. EU VAT settings, so you can enable EU VAT. You can set your tax rates and so on. So you can see UK VAT at 20%. I can set my various different options inside here, so we can choose how that is handled. Then if you come into your rates, you can set up the rates inside here. And then you've got your EU. So again, if you have to use one-stop shop or OSS registration, you can check that option and you can do what you need to do to get that all set up. Again, we will take a look at handling things like tax setup and so on in different videos once this is finally released. So this is just a kind of fly-by-night overview so you can see what is available. Next up, you've got your global integrations, and we can add integrations from here. Currently, there's FluentCRM and Fluent Community, but I expect that to expand over the next coming months where we have more options here. You've got your email configuration then, so you can set your mailing settings up inside here, your notifications, and again, we can customize these emails. So you can simply come in, choose the edit option, customize the body. Again, we've got those little shortcodes we can use to customize the content inside here. So you can personalize this, or you can make it as feature rich and as informative as possible. Mailing settings, so we can set up all the basic mailing options, notifications, and so on. So you can choose what you get notified about, etc., etc. Roles and permissions, I don't think we need to cover that. Storage settings, this is where, like I say, you can choose where your digital files, if you're selling digital files, are going to be stored. Local is active, but you can set this to be S3 if you want to, and you can configure that from here. Your shipping options, so you can set up your different shipping zones. So we've got zones and classes. Again, if you're coming over from something like WooCommerce, this is going to be very familiar. So inside your shipping zones, you can set your different zones up. You can see I've set a couple of different zones inside here, your classes and so on. Features and add-ons. If you're selling digital products, for example, software, you may want to handle licensing. Well, you can do that with Fluent Cart. So you can see we've got product licensing. This is currently not enabled, but you can do that inside here. Again, I've created a video giving you a brief overview of this, but I do believe this is expanded since my previous video, but I will link that down below so you can check that out for yourself. And again, we will take a look at these options in more detail on their own dedicated videos. If you want to manage stock, you can do it. And if you want to offer order bumps, you can do that as well. well, which is great for handling, pushing people up to maybe higher options or combination options and so on. So again, you can enable that when you're ready. So that is just scratching the surface of some of the options you have available inside Fluent Cart. Bearing in mind that this is the initial release, I think it's pretty impressive what's available straight out of the box. Is there room for improvement and new features and expanding and kind of fine-tuning what's there? Absolutely. But this is the initial release and it's an already abundant set of options inside there. And I have no doubt over the next 6 to 12 months that any of those little features that are missing will be added, and anything that needs to be ironed out and made a little bit smoother will absolutely be taken care of. But if you want to grab the best deal you're going to get when it comes to Fluent Cart, check out the link down below and the launch party tomorrow on the 14th of October. If you're seeing this video after that, just check the link out down below and see what the best offer is on Fluent Cart right now. As always, all applicable links are in the description down below. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.